Hey guys, and welcome back. It's been a while again, but no worries. The progress on the game has been steady. This will be the final update for this project in 2023, so let's jump directly to the new stuff. The first new thing being the intro cutscene of my game, which isn't final by any means. But it's definitely the tone I want to set right from the start. It shows the squad being flown into the operation before their helicopter gets shot down and crashes in a misty forest. There will be also a conversation between the squad which sets the frame for the story. But that's a thing for the future. I wanted to get the cutscene good looking at first. I tried to find interesting camera angles which create a certain dramaturgy. The last setting being the ego perspective of Craig, the team's captain, where the prior mentioned dialogue will play out. A big part of the visuals of the cutscene is Aura 2, which is a volumetric fog solution for Unity. It completely elevates the atmosphere and makes the game look even more gritty. I had removed this asset a while ago, but now decided to re-implement it. I personally am just a sucker for volumetric fog and light, which is why I added this. The moonlight breaking through the trees at night. It's just so tasty and beautiful. I could easily look at this all day. There's also noise applied to the fog. This means there are bits that are more foggy than others, which just enhances the look even further. By now, I think the game looks pretty appealing and coherent, which was a big goal from the start. Art direction is a tricky topic to say the least. When I was waking up one day 2 weeks ago, I thought to myself, damn, I really need to rework the aiming system. Before the rework, the player always had 100% accuracy, which made killing enemies way too easy and not engaging. I took inspiration from modern Resident Evil titles and implemented a crosshair-based aiming system. This system introduces two sources of accuracy penalty, being movement and shooting. So in order to take precise shots, the player must stand still and shoot controlled bursts instead of empty one magazine after the other. I tried to balance out the new system over all the guns in the game, meaning MPs won't lose much accuracy while moving, but assault rifles do, shotguns aren't that precise in the first place, and so on. This new way of aiming definitely feels like it should have been in the game from the very beginning. The original laser sight is only a cosmetic feature now. I made it so you can choose its color in the new settings menu. Speaking of the new settings menu, I've been stumbling across a cool framework on the Unity 3D subreddit recently. It's basically a minimalist UI which can be built purely from code. It has a lo-fi aesthetic to it, which I quite like. I implemented this UI into my game and it feels like I have saved 1 month of time compared to an actual fully stacked settings menu UI. The UI does what it should do and is perfectly acceptable, which is why I will keep it. Another Steam sale struck and I found myself picking up Signalis because I only heard good stuff about it, and who knows, it might be a great source of inspiration since it's also a survival horror entry, you know? Somehow you have to talk yourself into it. Anyway, Signalis led me into implementing another new feature, which isn't quite new. A couple of devlogs ago I showed off an inspection system which let the player read emails on computer screens. I found this way of storytelling a bit too specific and overly complex, which is why I opted in on story notes. Just like in Signalis, these can be found everywhere in the world and can be all kinds of notes. Letters, emails, manuals, dictionary entries, and so on. They are way simpler and also scale way better than the emails. So this is good news for people who like to read through the lore part of a game. Wishlisting my game helps a lot, so if you want to support this project for free, simply slap that wishlist button. Thank you! In addition to Signalis, I've also been picking up Resident Evil 4 Remake's DLC Separate Ways. While playing, I realized that I needed to add another mechanic to my game. With the new aiming system in place and the need to put more thought into your shots, I wanted to give a small reward to the player for doing so. Therefore, I implemented a feature which snares humanoid enemies when shot in critical parts. When being shot in the head, they will be writhing in pain, making them unable to move shortly. Same when being shot in the legs. They almost collapse to the ground before picking themselves up again. Ragdolling can still happen out of every state, and the triggering of this crowd control is based on probability. So fast firing weapons will do a better job at impairing an enemy. People familiar with Resident Evil 4 will know what comes next. You're also able to kick snared enemies. The kick deals a lot of damage, punches away and also hits surrounding enemies. I juiced up the feel with sound effects, particle systems, camera shake and a frame freeze. I am totally happy with this decision and am currently already losing myself into smashing enemies during playtests. This feature adds another level of depth to the combat. You will be fighting a lot of enemies, which is why I wanted it to be as fun as possible. This is also a part of the addicting game loop known from Resident Evil titles. Shoot, kick, loot, repeat. Working together with your teammates is a crucial part of my game. But until now, the teammates were invincible Terminators. I changed that by making them receptive to damage. They can also be downed now, if they take too much damage. They of course also have to be revived then, which will be done by a task. But I couldn't finish this feature in time for this devlog. Lastly, my sound guy Elias in Australia has been cooking up a new iteration of voice filters, since the old voice filters were not bad, but quite basic.
Position. Understood. Indicated area. Understood. Follow me. Affirmative.
We leaned more into a vocoder/artificial type of sound, which is primarily inspired by the Combine units from Half-Life Alyx. It should greatly emphasize the lore of the game and the design of the characters. Besides that, I also gave some of the equipment a springy behavior, making it look more attached to the player rather than glued on. Any weapon that the player is carrying but not holding in his hands is displayed on the player as well. It feels very nice and wobbly. Overall, I am super happy with the current state of the game after 1.5 years of semi-regular development. Speaking of the current state of the game, I briefly want to talk about the next year goals for this project. I would say that I definitely entered the second half of the whole development cycle for this project by now. All of the main features are present and most of them are already as fleshed out as I imagined them. I definitely want to finish the surface level first, including all the dialogue, the map design, including item crates and enemy spawns, certain in-game events and the overall polishing. Once the surface level is wrapped up, I will ship this level as a vertical slice demo on Steam. I will also perform a major outreach to YouTubers, streamers, journalists with the goal of them featuring my game to spread the word. I think I will skip the whole working with a publisher part and just release the game on my own once it's ready. With that, I can stay fully independent and also get the biggest piece of the cake. I also think it's pretty unrealistic that anyone wants to seriously fund me, since this is my first commercial title. Rookie mistakes will most likely be made. So I think it's the best if I go solo. I aim to release said demo in Q1 in 2024. I will then take my time over the next year to design and flesh out the last 2 missing levels and tie all of them together, before I go into a deep quality assurance phase, which mainly consists of external playtesting, bug fixing, polishing, optimization and adding quality of life features. Once all of this is done and a bunch of unrelated people played through the whole game without any major inconveniences, I will participate in the Steam Next Fest and release the game 2 weeks later. Currently, I am planning this to happen in Q4 2024. In case anyone was wondering, I'm currently sitting at 424 wishlists. Feel free to increase that number if you want to. 424 isn't that much, but it's also quite a lot if you consider I am not doing any major marketing yet. So in conclusion, I am planning a major vertical slice of the final game in Q1 of 2024 and the game's full release in Q4 2024. As I said in one of my previous devlogs, I'm not in a rush. I rather want my game to be good rather than wishy-washy, which is why I want to take my time, especially when being the only one working on it. Thanks to everyone who joined me on my journey so far and wishlisted the game. It truly means a lot to me. Since no one usually watches the outro, I can get a bit more personal here today. 2023 wasn't a great year for me. I had to overcome a lot of unforeseen difficulties and had to make very hard decisions, but in the end, as cliché as it sounds, you just grow stronger on the things that don't kill you. Nothing has stopped me from working on this project nevertheless, and nothing will be stopping me from doing so in the future. I hope 2023 was a better year for you, and I also hope that you have enjoyed the holiday season to the fullest. 2024 is right around the corner, so let's welcome it with heaps of confidence and determination. Let's finish our projects, guys. That's it for me. Insert a see you next year joke here. Thanks for watching and remember, don't spill your beer.